So I want to call the October 10th, 2023 meeting of the Sturbridge Board of Selectmen into session. Our agenda this evening, again, we have an open session with call to order, pledge of allegiance, moment of silence, a brief update from Robin, and then 3 action items. Consideration and possible action on to authorize the town administrator to authorize the notice of award and contractor agreement for the senior center building. Consideration and possible action authorize the town administrator to execute contracts related to the senior center building project. And then lastly, a vote to authorize the town administrator to act on behalf of the Board of Selectmen as its agent in filling out applications for, executing the agreements regarding, and performing any and all other actions necessary to secure the applicant such loans for construction or planning of drinking water protection, protection for projects as may be made available to the applicant pursuant to the provisions of the Massachusetts Clean Water Act and the Water Pollution Abatement Revolving Loan Program for the project titled Water and Sewer Assessment Management Plan CWSRF, project number 12436. Then it's old business, new business, citizens forum, and then adjourn. So with that, I'd like to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'd like to just take a moment of silence this evening, especially just to send our thoughts and prayers to everybody in the Middle East right now and all the unfortunate violence there. Thank you. All right, Robin.
Yeah, very briefly, I had a few people, residents ask, actually through my Facebook page, about the hometown hero banners that you see in some small towns. I started looking into it. I have people actually already saying they want to volunteer to help. The banners, apparently, the cost of them, a portion of it or most of it is actually borne by the family of the veteran. It's like $150 and like doubly it was to have one put up. I didn't know if it's something that the board wants me to follow through on or look into. I'm not sure where we have a downtown to do it. That could be a little bit of a, because I don't want to remove the flags that we have here. But they could be a series of poles or a set of poles down maybe off Route 20 if we worked with the state. Route 20 is another issue. But I just want to know if you all think that it's worth me pursuing this.
I think the idea is good, but it's, who's going to research all these people? And, it entails a lot. It sounds pretty good. And I guess Dudley started it. And if you want to look at a town that's not doing too well.
Yeah, I know. It's not the postage.
Several towns
yeah,
that do it.
My town actually has it.
I was going through to
well, they don't have the other,
and they had all the,
they don't have the other
nice
flags. I don't. Yeah. That's just my personal.
I would have to certainly take the people up who are offering to volunteer and say, do you really want to volunteer? Because if we're going to do this, I'm going to need assistance.
Yeah, so how much time are we talking? I mean, that's sort of what I think that to Mary's point, it's what's,
I don't think it's going to take me, it's not going to take a lot of my time to at least look into it and get a sense of it. And then see what kind of real volunteer core I have once I actually say to people, okay, yes, I'd like you to volunteer, and see if they actually, follow through. But I think it's worth at least pursuing, and if the cost isn't going to be to the town, the biggest challenge for us is we don't have a cherry picker truck to put them up. So the real issue is going to be who would put them up. Would Sturbridge Village volunteer maybe to hire they have a contract with a cherry picker, truck, a bucket truck. I might have to partner with something like a Sturbridge Village to do it. They might be interested in doing that.
We could also do, my thought, and I don't know what everybody else thinks, but is you evaluate, well, what's the cost, how much time is it going to take, and then maybe if we don't have the equipment, maybe we use it around Memorial Day, or maybe we do it for something like that, because it is, this is the very point we're just making towards the services important.
Well, yeah, I just certainly think with residents reaching out on something like this, and I notice them when I drive through towns. My little village in Pasco around the corner from me has it, and they're nice. But again, I didn't realize it's funded by the families, and so the cost is minimal to the community.
The fire department, they have a truck.
It says $160 made out to the town of Dudley.
Yeah.
At some point, we must have had a means to do it, because years ago, we'd have flags all the way down 20, remember? They were OSV flags.
Yeah, well, OSV,
Oh, were they all OSV?
And
Yeah.
we give money to the Legion for flags as well for Memorial Day, so we do provide funding. But there's nothing that says, we had betterment money we didn't use this year. There's nothing to say that we couldn't put 5,000 aside in betterment as part of a Hometown Heroes program. Given the nature of the town, it appears that that's something this town would support. So,
I like the.
Now,
I like the
the,
idea.
may I?
Of course, yeah.
The people that called you, do they have relatives that they're interested
they
in?
didn't
Or they?
indicate specifically, I think it was more, why don't we do this, other towns are doing it, it seems like a nice idea. Nobody said, well, my grandfather served or whatever. It was more, I think just, it looks nice and have we
Yeah.
thought about it?
I mean, because, those would be the people you'd have to start with. Would they want it?
Yeah, right, and so I probably would use social media to reach out and the whatever we could, maybe even the Quaboag Current. I might even put out a little press release saying, Town of Sturbridge is researching the idea
Yeah.
of blah, 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 and use the press a little bit, because we might have older people who'd be interested, Korean veterans, Vietnam veterans, whose family or themselves might be interested, and they might read the Current, they're not gonna necessarily, my Facebook page. So,
Well, I think just, the only thing I'd say is it makes perfect sense, let's just be proportional with it, and don't.
Yeah, the time
don't tell you
commitment
if
is-
it's not, if the juice isn't gonna be worth the squeeze for you. I trust you to do that, but.
No, absolutely, but I just wanna know if it's worth, you would all support it if I can pull it together and make it work, if this is something as a town, leadership you would want.
I would, I think it's a good idea.
Thank you.
I'm not in favor.
Okay.
All right, so we are moving on to our action items. Action item A, consideration and possible action to authorize the town administrator to execute the notice of award and contractor agreement for the senior center building project, which is obviously the reason we're having this meeting tonight. We have two troublemakers joining us.
They were invited trouble.
Well, I don't mean that.
I invited trouble to the meeting.
But first of all,
I guess
because
Rebecca could have been here.
You got Charlie here.
yeah,
I
so.
got your number.
But I think that's just before we get into it all, I think the important place is to start with a thank you, because we understand how much time this all takes, and that we understand that, I don't think that both of you who are here have been committed to Sturbridge ever since you've been here, which is pretty much always
And lifetime.
Yeah. And so, and no, and it is, these committees can be difficult, they can be frustrating, and just the effort and the shorthand, it's a big deal. We thank you, along with Leslie and the rest of the team. So just first, thank you very much. So moving with that, we have the plans. I don't know, Robin, if you just want to start with a sort of recap for the record, and we can go from
So
there.
let me just briefly give it over. So we, several months back, went out to bid for the project. After initial estimates had come in, we were able to get the CPC funding, and we had come up to, I think, 13.2 was the total amount of money with CPC and the original ballot, the original town meeting warrant. And so we went out to bid, and it came in probably a little over $1 million higher than what we would have been able to afford. A lot of the area was HVAC, there was no competition, if I recall, to the original HVAC bid. And
One
that-
bid.
One bid. And we knew it was high, all HVAC is high right now, but that was really high. And so the building committee went back to the table and thought about what can we cut, what would the prices be, what would the cost be of where we could shave this down a little bit. The fire suppression system, for example, was a full dry system, now it's a wet dry system, that saved, I think, $250,000. The HVAC came in dramatically lower, and that was really why we could make this work. We would have been able to close the gap without that. And then there were some cosmetic changes, wood finish, veneer, things like that that changed. Nothing substantive to the footprint as far as space. And the alternates that we did keep in, as were referenced to you last week, because you agreed on, the ARPA agreed to pay for the water for the fire suppression. And I want to be clear, it's not a water department project. Has to do with fire suppression. But it's the water, it's Veolia's pump station, but just so we're up clear, it's fire suppression. Heather wanted me to emphasize that, that's all, just doing that for Heather. But then that also meant keeping that Alt 1, which you're required to keep if you take Alt 2. Alt 1 was the skylights, which people have been going back and forth on the need for those. They were about $53,000, I think, or $52,000, and everybody's, I think the vast majority of people felt that there was enough added value to those, plus wanting the generator upgrade anyway, because it would have been a lot more to put a whole new generator and then to upgrade. Made sense to keep the skylights. So that was sort of where we were at. It brought us down to within about 420,000 or so. 50,000 is in an earmark grant that Leslie has for some of the furniture finishings. And that left about 380, 90 some out of that ARPA supported, you all supported, and then the other is contingency out of the ARPA money, certainly with hopes that the whole amount won't be used and that of the 500,000 in contingency that you would have had without that money, that 500,000 hopefully can absorb most of the cost and we won't have to use the ARPA money. ARPA did ask for an update in June as to where things stood, so we could know on ARPA side if we were gonna have more money added back, so we could make sure we allocated that money before the deadlines on the ARPA end. And that sort of brings us where we are tonight. The bids came back. This was the low bidder. One critical thing to note is that the bids were very close, so this wasn't disproportionately low, which might have made you nervous that, okay, it's disproportionately low, they're gonna eat into all that contingency. It did not come back that way. It came back within, I think, what, $30,000 or $60,000 of the next lowest? So very
And
tight.
we actually had more general contractor bidding than the
Yeah,
first time.
Yes, so significantly more competition. We had 4 this time,
Correct.
and we got competition on the sub, the HVAC.
Mhm.
That's really where things went to. So we're here tonight for me to be able to sign that contract, enter into that agreement. We have 30 days from the bid openings, the award, to do this, so that's why we're here tonight on a special meeting. I think, and you all had said you wanted to take a closer look at the contract, but I also think that having the building committee here to answer the questions, particularly of what are we getting for the value, because that's been one of the questions that when you're looking at $13 million on renovation, what are we still getting what we originally went out to bid for that we
Sure.
could do $1 million extra that we're still getting now? And again, I think because most of it was HVAC, we are still getting what
Sure.
we were looking at.
So to that point, gentlemen, whoever would like to speak.
Yeah, I mean, it's addition renovation, so
Right.
there's a 7,000 square foot addition that bars across the back of the property, closest to the neighbors, and then it's the renovation of the existing, and it's meant to hold the integrity of that, so that the historic, it's technically not on the historic register, but the preservation of the historic nature of the building is being intact. There's, the parking is improved, and the whole addition of the big spaces, there's I don't want to say a commercial kitchen, it's quasi, it's almost, but it's not. But it's right in there,
Yeah.
so, and there's a lot more space, I think. And just the whole circulation there, it's a little different, a little difficult on our road, how it is, of how you can come in and get dropped off and park and that kind of stuff, so that improves it, and I think it's gonna be much more positive for the whole situation.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay.
All I'm gonna do is just say, the 1800 building, now's the time to save it
Yeah,
or let it go.
sure.
We have to put in re-rods in the ceiling above the first floor and second floor to hold the walls in.
Uh-huh.
Like the windows were replaced 4 years ago. You can't open half of them because the bricks
So this is collapsing?
set like
Yeah.
this. So that's, all gonna be jointed.
Good.
And be sure the foundation downstairs is all powdery. There's 5 piers made out of stone, concrete, that's all powdery. There's water downstairs, so we're gonna take care of that, and hopefully have many more years, that building can be historically saved and taken care of.
No, that's great. All right, so that comments from the board?
I have none.
I'll start, I just have a few. I think these plans are beautiful. I love the addition and how it doesn't protrude way out, and when you're on a road, it goes back. So it's very aesthetically pleasing. And we knew we'd have to gut that building in order to maintain it. That wasn't anything of surprise, but if we can reuse existing buildings, especially one of the oldest in Sturbridge, I thought it was a great thing that we did do that.
The study, they did a good job on the study. But when we started digging into this project, a lot of the study did not cover what we found. Okay, they did some work, really digging in, but we really dug in more, and we found more that between the architect and the engineer that needed to be replaced. You know?
Now, Bill, what was the first study? Who was that done by?
Not the architect who we selected.
No.
Right, no.
I'll know it if I hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about
But
it.
is that the one that the feasibility?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a
that-
feasibility
That was the
study.
feasibility study, which wasn't, it was a
And the name of
feasibility.
it is,
And plus that
I'll
was,
call you later on.
yeah, I know, I was on that study.
that was only a feasibility study
Yeah.
anyway, it wasn't
Oh,
the
yeah,
full
no, it
arc,
wasn't.
so we really should have,
Yeah.
gone forward with the full,
Yeah.
but that's another
Yeah,
story.
and from their concept as to what this concept is, they didn't have a bar in the back kind of concept. They had it
Right.
side by side.
Right, I
And everything
remember.
else, yeah, and this is.
That's why I think
this
this is more
much-
pleasing.
Yeah.
I just had a
More
question,
appropriate.
did you say that we didn't have to reduce the size of the addition that we envisioned? Or we
In
did?
this last round?
Yes,
No.
It's last
No,
one.
we didn't.
okay,
From the first bid to this one, we did
No.
not change the square footage or the footprint
right,
and sacrifice any program
Right.
that we were trying to
That's
incorporate
right.
within the building, so we didn't do that. We touched 2x2 ceilings versus maybe concealed spline. We touched some trim work and that kind of stuff. We just touched the exterior batten wood, no, they had a trespa panel that was laminated that you get from Spain. And so we changed
We
some
did need
things
that.
like that.
But the
And they made
space is
significant
Nice to have that
changes.
long.
As well as
Right.
the, we do have a little bit of a dry system, especially on the overhang where you drive up, because that's required, but the rest of the building initially designed was all dry, so we took that
It's
out
not
because
like
you
we have
don't
major
have to.
computer servers in there that you have to have a dry system.
Yeah.
That was 250,000 we didn't need.
Right,
I want to say, I did, just for the record, I have spoken with Leslie. She couldn't get here tonight, but I did speak with Leslie. She is comfortable with all the changes from the first round of bidding to this
Yeah.
round. She is comfortable.
can I ask one more question?
course, yeah.
Okay,
And I did ask her if I could say that.
so I just have a question on the
That was the question.
contractor that's-
Leslie, say
I
it.
know that you said that they were all pretty close
Yeah.
for the size project that it
Yeah.
is. So, do we always, and I don't, do we always have to go with the lowest bidder?
Yes.
Or so, what happens
Lowest
if
qualified.
qualified, so did we,
MGL
so
149.
do we vet whether or not
Yeah,
they
there-
give
yes.
references of
References.
prior projects?
So building projects require that we
Okay.
can put all that into our bids.
So that's all part of,
So what we
Explain that a
did
little
is
bit to me.
pre-qualified the general contractors. We pre-qualified 9 general contractors at the beginning before we bid it the first time. So at that point in time, we went over, there's a scoring system that's done, so all of them passed. So 9 were still, I think we looked at 12, but 9 were passed.
viable,
And then we ended up with 4,
and then this was the lowest of the,
Yeah.
so what other projects has this contractor done, do we know?
recently,
Well,
recently he
in the
did all
last
the work at,
The new public house.
the public house.
Yeah.
Addition.
Okay,
He's done multiple additions around the state of Massachusetts, different cities and towns. He did another fire department addition in Dudley,
okay.
and I personally called the fire chief there and asked how the building is, how is it working with P&P contractors? And they really enjoyed working with P&P because they have hired him back to do other projects around the fire station.
That's good to know.
Yeah, for the amount of
That's a good-
money.
Yeah, his bonding, insurance and all that is all
Nice.
solid, so.
Yeah.
And the public house addition went on pretty timely.
And the public house is very happy on how they handled. And I think we're gonna get a really good bang for our dollar with B&P.
Great, good.
Yeah.
Good to know. Mary, Chase, you have anything?
Oh, just thank you for all your hard work. I think it looks great. I know Icon does an excellent job, and yeah, I think it's great.
And what's nice about this addition is it's all on one level.
Yeah.
All right, we have to marry it to the two-story building, but that's not saying years and years and years from now, when that building needs to be taken down, because all good buildings do have to be taken down sooner or later. They just run their test of time. That's gonna be easy to separate that from the new addition we're putting on now. that's tying into it, so. I think it's gonna be a nice value, a nice return for the town of Sturbridge.
I just wanna say thank you
Thank you.
for all your, like Jay said, all your hard work. I know what went into this, and I appreciate it, and I'm sure everybody will appreciate it once.
So we would like your support to go further with this.
Give Lefty the authority.
Diane was selling
I saw
for it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think I've just got one kind of final comment to wrap things up, which is, this is a great project. Again, thank you guys for the work. This has to happen. It's gonna cost more money if we don't. But it's a lot of money, and it's a lot of money because we put this project off way too long. And preventative maintenance and doing these projects when the government is non-printing money makes very little sense. Now, we should do this project, and there are other projects coming along that we're gonna do, but this sort of having to hit home runs every time we do these projects is just too much, and we gotta get out of those habits, and I think we just all have to work on it. That's not any one person or any group, it's nobody doing it, but it is something we've been engaged in for about a part of 25 years at this point. So with that, do I have a motion on action item A?
So moved.
Okay, all right,
I'll
so,
second it.
and all those in favor? Great. All right, moving to action item B.
So B is very simple.
No, I'm
B, there's some little, if you will, contracts, like for instance, you already authorized the signing with the church, but Robin has to authorize some movers, things like that. This would just allow me to be able to sign those contracts. They are within the cost of the big project, but they're just not subbed under the general.
What ballpark, what are we talking?
40,000 here, 50,000 there, maybe 30,000 for the movers, I think.
I think the overall rent for
Well,
the
that's,
church
yeah.
is like 40
Yeah,
grand.
that one's all set.
The movers, I don't know.
I would say it was 20, 30,000,
Yeah,
Robin
it's
said to me.
not-
These are not multiple hundred, these are not six-figure
Okay.
contracts. If there's something large that comes up that we didn't see coming, I'll bring it to you.
Yeah.
But Robin just asked me today, hey, can you sign a contract for the movers? And I said, yeah, I just need to get authority to do that, so.
No, I think that's fine, just,
It just doesn't
err,
slow the project.
yeah, no, that's fine, but err on the side of once it starts to
Yes.
get had up.
And I'll
on
brief you if there's anything even borderline, if I sign something 60 or 75,000, they can't wait till a meeting.
Yeah.
I'll just update you on what has been signed off.
Sounds good. All right,
Thank you.
do we have a motion or any, on action item B?
Okay, I'll make a motion to authorize town administrator to execute contracts related to the senior center building project within the total appropriation.
Do I-
Second.
All right, we have a second. All those in favor? Great. All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Yes, thank you.
We'll dismiss
Have a
you
great
from
dinner.
here, too, so.
Thank you very much.
Nice to see you.
Pleasure to see you.
Later.
Thanks, Bill. Good
Take
to
care.
see
Say
you.
hi.
Yeah,
Say
tell the
hi,
boys.
Joan.
I will, to stay out of
Give her
trouble.
my
Oh, it was a pleasure.
I'll-
Thank you.
I'll tell Danny everybody said hi.
Yeah,
Give Caroline my best.
Yes. Yeah, smack Rich right in the head.
Yeah.
Have a
all
great
right.
night.
I was like, can't cross my legs.
Oh, so we're almost done, if you keep your attention.
I'll split the difference with you.
I have to say that one, thank you, it's been wonderful.
Yeah, no, it's all right.
What a great group of people.
Yeah, they are.
The chairman's paying though.
Well, ask his wife, he'll tell she'll tell you.
Yeah, I only like one of them, but I'm not gonna tell you what.
The last one's sort of a pro forma, we're working with DEP on a water and sewer asset management plan. They have a document that you have a copy of in front of you that asks me to certify, it's the certification piece, that you all have authorized me to sign the DEP blah, blah, blah document. Ty and Bond is putting this all together for us. And it basically says, I put the language in there that Ty and Bond has in there, that authorizes me to sign on all aspects of the water and sewer asset management plan project. So you're not signing off anything water sewer other than this project,
Oh, okay,
just for this project.
that was my
And you can't
question.
advocate your role as sewer commissioners, and I don't want to take your role as, believe me, the last role I want is water sewer commissioner. There's one role I don't want, that's it. But for this project, I need authorization to sign off, and it says that if you look at that language at the end, applicant pursuant to the provisions of the blah, 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 for the project titled, water
Yes.
and sewer asset management, so.
Yes, now what project is it? Number 1, 2, 4 through 6?
That is, you have a copy of it.
Yeah,
Well, you have what I have, all I have, and I'm signing off on it.
Just got it.
Yeah, this was unfolding today. the town, if you look down at CRSRW, project identifier number, in the middle of that page, it says right here, Mary, there's the town of Sturbridge is seeking to develop a more proactive approach to blah, 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 water and sewer assets. It's a management plan, an asset management plan.
Okay, for the people at home, let's read it. The goal of this project is to conduct an intensive condition assessment of the town's vertical water and sewer infrastructure. The project will assist the town in developing a comprehensive asset management plan to move forward towards proactive maintenance and to build upon their risk and resiliency efforts. And AMP will help the town provide their desired level of service at the lowest possible cost. I have no further questions. Anybody have anything else on this?
Have we had an asset management plan in the past?
That I do not know. This Heather is just on this, I don't know if we've had one before, I would imagine we probably have at some point, but I would imagine it's also probably
Old.
Antiquated.
we have. But this one came from Heather today, and I apologize for the short notice, but she said to me today, oh, I need it signed Thursday, and I said, so I looked at this and I said, asked for when you had a resolution authorizing me to sign it, I said, was there ever one? Is my date of hire count like a default resolution for me to sign it?
I don't think so.
But I
But,
didn't think that counted, so.
all right, anything further, or do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
I just had one, I mean, I'm in
Sure.
favor, but what are the in-kind services for 50,000?
I probably,
And
I
other
would imagine
contributions.
that's probably Heather and Shane's time. Right?
Yeah, if they do
Typically in
anything,
kind,
yeah.
would
Okay,
be what our departments do.
right, services, that's-
Right.
and what about other contribution for 50,000?
I do not know what that is.
Well,
Would
if
it be
you-
grant, oh, we may have got, is it, could it be grant money? I could text
Or
her.
if
usually-
Mary gives 20,000.
No, I know, that's what I was curious, was that an
No, I
anonymous
don't
donor?
believe, no,
Because it's
no.
not the AMP grant, because that's for
No.
150.
See,
I'm just curious.
It's under other, right? Whatever.
Yeah, I didn't know if we have a
The-
philanthropist, that was.
No, 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 I can tell you not.
Do I want his name and
It
number?
might have been a grant. It might have been a grant. 50 sounds like a grant number to me.
Mhm, it's round figure.
And a lot of those earmark grants, I don't know when this might have come along, under other. But I know we had a couple of grants that we got, so I'm just doing some survey ahead.
Well, I'm gonna, you still.
I'm fine with it, I was just
Yeah,
curious.
I'll
where
find
the
out.
50
So all those
came
in
from.
favor? All right, the ayes have it. All right, and please just get us that answer if
Yep.
in
Yeah.
the future. All right,
And I apologize, I wasn't better briefed on this.
no,
because
no,
it
no,
kinda came
this is,
today.
the emergencies happen. Old business, Mary Lou, anything?
No.
Mary Blanchard, anything?
Nope.
Mary Chase, anything?
None for me.
Very
No, I
good.
just have to ask this because, you know, I'm sure you're getting so many complaints. Do we have any kind of estimate? You know what I'm gonna ask,
I know what
right?
you're gonna ask,
For
you
when
should
the
ask,
Route
everybody
20
should ask.
project will
Yeah,
be
so.
the big Sturbridge Day.
Yeah, we-
So,
I mean, people, I was running by today, and people were like, swearing out their window.
The other, by the way, is in
Um.
the water and sewer budget, it was in the budget this year, we had 50,000 actually in our budget
Okay.
for this.
So,
Water and sewer budget, according to Heather.
to Mary's question, Robin, do you have is there
So,
any
yeah,
date?
so Heather,
Yes.
so the answer is no, but Heather did, ironically, she emailed this morning, and then she and I had a long discussion on it. We are waiting for a reply back. One of the things, if she gets no reply or an unacceptable reply, which any answer right now is pretty much unacceptable, they're not planning on, you know, the road closure was, the whole point of doing the 1.5 overnight closure was to avoid this one lane thing for weeks.
Mhm.
When that closure didn't happen because of weather, I kept waiting for them to reschedule it. Well, they never did, and now they're going this route of this multi-week nightmare. So we're waiting, we gave the guy a day to respond, in case he wasn't in today, Heather emailed him today. I will tomorrow call the Boston rep that I worked with on the Noble Energy thing. So tomorrow I will call him and I will say to him, listen, if you're gonna do this one lane stuff, you either can't do it between 7:30 and 9:30 in the morning and 2:30 and 6:30 in the afternoon, but there's got to be some compromise on this. They cannot have one lane at 8 o'clock in the morning. And school buses, rescues, police. I mean, if we have to get to a point where I say to Earl, that, you know, we talk and we say, is this even safe? We're gonna put our foot down and, you know, we're not even gonna cover it, or, I mean, we don't have a ton of latitude,
Yeah.
but we could be a pain in the neck.
Well,
Yeah, because the last thing we had when Heather was in, she had said they tentatively said they expect to be finished by the end of November.
Yeah.
sure.
And then final coating in
Spring,
spring.
yeah.
Once this big bulk thing happens.
Yeah,
The
it
paving
goes
is
slowly.
pretty much all it is, and that's why we had agreed to this whole road closure, was to speed it up so we didn't have what's going on. I mean, we are looking at a light at the end of the tunnel, but for the public who's been dealing with this since before I stepped foot in here, it's a
Well,
nightmare.
Yeah, well, I will say this, the new contractor, because I know they had
Yes.
litigation or differences of opinion on change orders or whatever, they are moving a lot faster, they are doing it now.
There's at least activity.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I just have, I have one other question about that, because I noticed when I was running by, we have all of our Sturbridge officers on detail on the road, and so I wondered, is the state or the contractor paying
That's
for
part of
that?
the-
Okay, that's what I
Those are
thought, that's not
They
coming
made,
from,
those are
No,
on-site
why not?
details.
I just wanted that
Yeah, and
confirmed.
the taxpayers should be aware of that, those
Okay.
are part of like a Verizon detail.
I just wanted to hear
yes.
it, that's
Yes.
what my
What is,
understanding.
and we actually
is.
make money on that, what do we get, a 10%?
We get an
fee?
administrative fee on the, yep,
Something
and then
like
if
that.
there's a cruiser there, we get usually additional
More.
administrative fee, plus the officer gets paid a rate, a contractual rate, they have to pay them our contractual rate.
Yes,
We set
because
it.
it does confuse people that it's a
I had a discussion with
Sturbridge
someone today,
project.
they're like,
And I had
that's a lot of
to,
overtime.
it's
I'm
not a
like, no.
Sturbridge project, it's a Mass DOT project, but we're using our officers on
Right.
detail and the cost is being paid for.
Exactly,
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
and you
Right.
could have detail officers from other towns.
Yeah, if we don't have
Right.
anybody who wants to take it,
Yeah.
we don't
I
force
just
that,
thought
it's
Sturbridge
not
people.
forced overtime.
Yeah.
So, no, that's great, Robin, thank you for the update on that. All right, this is,
That's my only old
yeah,
business.
and then, anybody have any new business?
No.
Just if I could just remind everybody, Jamie and I just were across the street with the Stourbridge Rotary. Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock or 8:15 is the Stourbridge joint meeting with Britain, England.
Scotland?
Stourbridge.
Stourbridge,
That's
England.
Stourbridge. And just as a reminder of that, and
Doodly
just a traditional,
Stourbridge.
you all signed the proclamation last time, but they had a lovely gathering and they were having dinner tonight. Jamie and I went over and shook a few hands and said hello.
Yeah, no, it's lovely, and it's, I mean, you know, it's a friendship that they've kept alive for a long time now, I mean, they've been doing
Oh,
this for a while.
since we had the 250th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's lovely, so, all right.
Our oldest ally.
First real enemy.
Yeah, original.
The original enemy,
Covering
the
a
first
lot.
ally.
Covering a lot of ground, but the, okay, so I don't think I hear any new business, no citizens forum, and do I have a motion to
Motion
adjourn?
to adjourn.
Second, thank you.
All those in favor?
I know a few of you aren't gonna be here the 16th, that's actually the sign presentation night.
Oh.
And I've got the guy booked for that. I can
No,
send
no,
you
don't
ahead of
move it
time,
on my
okay, but I'll
account.
make sure you have renderings and.
That's like my pet, that's like my
I know.
pet project.
I know, you're not the 16th either, okay, I'll make sure renderings are out,
Yeah.
early next week so you all can see everything. You could send in projects or Zoom it if you wanted to.